Welcome back, I'm Jonathan. Lordstown Motors has appointed a new CEO. It's Daniel Ninivaggi, and it's time to celebrate. Lordstown has been without a CEO, being run on an interim basis by Angela Strand since May, when this former CEO and the founder of Lordstown resigned. Steve Burns resigned in May after reports from Hindenburg Research, a short seller, claiming that Steve was in effect committing fraud, and that Steve was also lying about the pre-orders, which he had been touting since the transaction, the merger with the SPAC. Since Steve left and took his CFO with him, Lordstown Motors stock has been on a rough ride. It has almost fallen off the cliff, having halved since early spring, and is down more than 70% on the year. However, with a new and respected CEO at the helm, what does the future hold for Lordstown Motors and its investors? If you're interested in my take on the Hindenburg Research report on Lordstown Motors, go ahead and check it out above, and then come back to this video. Don't worry, I'll wait. Okay, welcome back. Let's get started. The market reacted very well to the announcement of the new CEO, to the announcement that Daniel Ninivaggi would be taking over, to the tune of being up almost 50% in pre-market hours, and 5 times trading volume on August 26th, the day of the announcement. These 2 points taken together are significant bullish signs for the company and the company's stock. These are positive signs that the tide has changed, and the conversation around Lordstown Motors has changed, and it's now not just about the Steve Burns era. It's now about what the future holds. If you take a quick look at the chart, it looks like the market overreacted a little bit, but not too much, because the share price of Lordstown Motors has remained pretty high, pretty stable, and also trending upward since the announcement. Daniel Ninivaggi is a former executive at Icon Enterprises LP, a diversified automaker. He has also been in upper management in Lear Automotive. This is where he made his name for himself. Ninivaggi adds credibility to Lordstown Motors because he brings it with him from his previous experience. He also brings a lot of respect with him, and he adds that to the company itself. This respect and this perception, this outside perception of Ninivaggi, is a great bonus for Lordstown Motors. It's probably one of the reasons why he was chosen, and it means that Lordstown will have a lot of benefits going forward. The evidence for this positive outlook, this positive reaction, is simply the market's reaction and all the articles that we've seen online pointing out how respected Ninivaggi is. Market up almost 50%, a lot of media attention, all good in the first step for Lordstown Motors. Looking at some specific statements from Ninivaggi's new bosses, we can start to form a pattern and understand what about him they probably liked. Broad automotive background, track record, strategic thinking, and team-oriented leadership, capital market expertise, and investment proficiency will be invaluable in navigating the company through its commercial ramp-up and growth phase. I think these 2 statements taken together mean that Lordstown Motors and the board of Lordstown Motors got who they wanted. They got their target, and because he was respected and he has the experience and the expertise necessary to get them going, to pull them out of this rut. Ninivaggi is the person the board wanted to pull them through this difficult situation where they're dealing with the production and cash problems. It seems the board believes he will pull them through this complicated and complex situation. This leads me to believe Lordstown will have the stability and the time to get their production online and to work towards the goals they've set out and the promises they've made. If you're enjoying this video, please help me out by giving it a like. Because he's well respected, the market and investors will have more faith in the company and be able to have more patience and allow Lordstown to focus on production and achieving goals instead of just defending themselves after the Steve Burns era. In the coming months, production is scheduled to start. This has been reiterated over and over again. Production is scheduled to start in the September-October timeframe, and it will ramp up after that. Production will lead to sales, and with sales, we can hopefully see some of the negativity around the Steve Burns era and the pre-orders fall away and transition into more of a neutral or positive outlook for the company. This complication of Steve Burns will hopefully fall away even further as the sales turn into cash when customers receive the vehicles that have been delivered and start to pay for them. This cash will then turn into financial stability for Lordstown Motors, creating a cycle that reinforces itself and helps Lordstown to improve itself over and over again. Cash generated from the sales of the Endurance will then allow this improved financial stability. From this improved financial stability, we can expect to start to see the market take notice of this. Then we can expect to see the stock price solidify, stabilize, and in fact maybe increase. One point about this, Daniel Ninivaggi has gone on record as saying he will not be paying attention to the day-to-day movements of the stock price, and he shouldn't. He's a CEO, he has better things to do. However, he will be paying attention to the longer term, the trends of the stock price, because after all, he needs to restore investor confidence. Investors that don't like him will eventually vote him out. So he is, in the end, responsible to the board, and the board is responsible to the investors. After the previous few months, during which Ride has had a really rough experience with investors, it seems that the new CEO will be taking a little bit of notice and be focusing a little bit on the stock price, making sure investors know that he is also focusing on it, and investors know he is trying to take care of them. If this works out the way Ninivaggi wants it to, we should definitely see the share price trend upwards over the coming months and years. Good news for Lordstown shareholders. The future looks brighter and clearer, and there still is a lot of work to do. Ninivaggi is not the answer to all the questions. He is, however, well respected and has a lot of credibility in the automotive industry, and therefore he will bring Lordstown Motors to a different level of respect from the outside. Hitting production milestones and delivering on promises made will go a long ways to increasing his effect and to stabilize the company further. It will go a long ways to encourage the market to accept and embrace Lordstown Motors. Collecting cash will go further because it will also mean increased financial stability and no longer just promises. However, until these production schedules are met, these promises are kept, and these sales are made with cash coming in, there is still some uncertainty. Some investors will understandably remain negative, and some market participants will remain bearish. One takeaway I have is somebody as respected and well known and is experienced in the auto industry as Ninivaggi is not likely to jump on a sinking ship, which is very positive. It's a positive indication for me, because if he believes Lordstown has a future, the market will begin to believe it as well. You and I may begin to believe it as well. I am building a list of viewer-chosen and viewer-inspired content. If you have a topic you would like me to talk about, to make a video about, leave it in the comments down below. That's all for today. Jonathan out.